Right, welcome back to the Surly Talk Sports Podcast, brought to you by the TAB and Michelob Ultra. Only the first week of February, and I feel like there's so much going on in the sporting world already. Even today, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. We've had NRL law changes, some Super Rugby law changes, NBA trades, T20 World Cup, State of Origin, coming to New Zealand, Eden Park. How good. We're going to cover off all of that today and more. But before we tuck into that, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for getting around last week's episode. Kind of just dropped it last Friday. No real warning, but the feedback's been awesome. Stoked to see people are loving having the podcast back. And I do have to say as well, people enjoyed the addition of producer Henry. So, mate, welcome back. Mate, the feedback really positive around you. People are loving it. So how'd you feel after the debut?
Yeah, very good actually. Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here again. But yeah, it was great to be in the studio last week. Obviously seen it online, but to be in studio talking code, it was really good. And yeah, I'm glad that people enjoyed it because, I mean, if they're not enjoying it, we're in trouble. So
absolutely.
So yeah, no, it's good to see.
Yeah, love it, mate. Love it. Well, let's rip into it, bro. Lots of topics to cover. We're going to preview and review with some punting as well, thanks to the TAB mixed in. But what should we kick off with?
Got to be the NRL and the 4 rule changes. I mean, when that came across the desk today, I was like, oh, today, more rule changes. And then I was going through them. But we'll start with the first one. Then maybe you give your take on each rule as we go. So trainers will be restricted from entering the field of play to prescribed and clearly defined circumstances. This will ensure player safety remains a priority while reducing unnecessary intrusions by trainers carrying messages. So that's a good one for me because obviously the massive thing last year with the Panthers. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, basically the Penrith Panthers rule, isn't it? Yeah. And it really did need to happen. There's been a few incidents, as you said, over the last couple of years. That one last year really did blow it up. And it's one of those things, like, you don't notice them as much on TV until something goes wrong. But when you're live at a game, and you'll know this too, you see how much they're involved. They're in the back of every play. They're basically a messenger from the coach to the players, and mainly the playmakers, and they're constantly out there coaching. And that's against the rules as it is. But they've been pushing the boundaries for so long and getting away with it that I'm stoked to see this. It's one of those rules, the changes on paper looks amazing. I really hope they implement it and they're pretty harsh on it. I think first few weeks, they've got to set a tone there, like over in Vegas, even in these All-Stars and preseason games, just come down hard on it and say, nah, you guys are taking the piss, get off the field. Otherwise, nothing will change and it looks good on paper, but 100% needed to happen. I'm all for this one.
Well, that has been the NRL thing to do in recent years, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think when they've implemented a rule, they've sometimes gone, first 4 weeks, let's crack down on it.
Yep.
Third week comes along and you're like, hey, what's that?
Exactly.
You're like, that's gone. So I think that's an important thing. And like you said, Slade Griffin last year and other Warriors assistant coaches, they're doing a hell of a lot of coaching from behind the play. Yep. So when you're sitting there, you're going, why is he on the field? Why is he telling me that? So there's all these things. So like you, I really enjoy the rule. Let's get into the second one. Teams may interchange 4 players up to 8 times per match from a squad of 6 players. Players 14 to 19 is inclusive. Accidental breach, meaning so that's that one. Yep. What are your thoughts on that?
I love this.
Yeah.
This is my favourite of all the rule changes. Yeah, 100%. I really like this one, mainly because I think so often we've seen, as of late, HIAs to outside backs in particular, or key players and spines, just have a massive effect on the game, to the point where I think there's a stat going around, under 30% of the time, if a team loses an outside back in a game, they win. Like, that's a massive amount, right? To take away a player like that from the game at no fault of their own. I think it's awesome. I'm really excited to see how coaches use it tactically as well. It's going to be interesting, right? Like, you're going to have 3 or 4 middle forwards on that bench. They're going to be part of that rotation. Then you're probably going to have a specialist 7 and an outside back, just in case there's injuries that go down. Potentially, you're going to want to use 3 of those interchanges and keep a 4th one up your sleeve, just in case late. You could, for the Warriors example, inject a AKP, Cam Pereira, if you're chasing a game and you need points. Like, there's going to be these little plug-and-play substitutions that I really like. In terms of the parts about it that I don't like, I think it's going to affect reserve grade massively. New South Wales Cup, Queensland Cup, things like that. Unless, say, the Warriors play a Friday night, then the Cup plays on the Saturday. I can't see those guys that didn't get on not backing up and playing. The other thing is, I think guys in specialist positions are going to be lacking minutes. Like, if you're a 7 on the extended bench and the 7 doesn't get injured, you're not playing that game. Then you miss Cup footy, and all of a sudden you're going 5 or 6 weeks without playing. That could be tough. Like, if the Cup side are over in Aussie, then you're no chance of playing that. Or if they're playing before the Warriors game, right, then you're not going to get on. I think it affects the utility role. Someone like a Connor Watson, right, who's the jack of all trades, I think their impact is going to be less now for sure. And then also affects fantasy and Supercoach, which as punters is big for us. I think they're going to have to adjust some rules there so that you don't end up with constant zeros because you had extended benches. But I think in terms of good for the game, spectacle as a spectator watching, I don't want to see my centre or my 7 go down early and then the game's basically done and dusted, right? You can turn off the TV. Instead, now you get to slot a specialist in, and I think it is great for that. There's pros and cons. I think it's good for player welfare. If guys take a slight knock now, they're going to be way more likely to come off rather than try to play through it, which we see all the time, like it or not. So I think this is a positive one. It's just going to be, I'm so keen to see what guys like Webby, Ivan, Wayne Bennett, these coaches that are so onto it, so dialed in, how they use it, because it's going to be really interesting. It could change the game.
It's a good rule. I like it. It's a good injection. I think it has the opportunity to get a little bit sticky with specific teams, with the teams without depth or with too much depth that, like you said, I mean, the cup, the next day, the beforehand, it just ruins that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with each team. But in all things considered, I think it's a good rule. So we'll move on to the next one. Accidental breach of the 0 tackle sort of in goal. There will be no 7 tackle set following a knock-on in goal by the attacking team. I'm a fan of this.
Yeah.
I think there's specific scenarios where it's probably worthy of giving the defensive team a 7 tackle set, but then you're trying to score a try, like a diving ball. That shouldn't be a 7 tackle set.
100%. I am a big fan of if you kick it dead or whatever, it's a 7 tackle set, right? That's a poor execution of a skill that's essential to the game, and it shouldn't happen. But if you're a winger going up to compete in the in goal, you knock it on, contesting for the ball, I don't think you should be punished for that. So I think this 100% makes sense.
And then the next one is for certain infringements behind the 20-metre line, beyond the 20-metre line, the tackle count will restart, replacing the current 40-metre threshold. Thoughts?
Yeah, so basically they've just moved the set restart from the 40 to the 20 out of your own end, right? I like it. I don't as well. I'm 50-50 on this one. I feel like the game has got so fast already that the fatigue is crazy. Not blowing a penalty here is just another opportunity for rest for middle forwards that's gone. Like you see guys in preseason, Bunty, a great example, gone to the Tigers. He's dropped 10 kilos to be able to try and go with the pace of the play now. It's so quick. And I don't want us to lose that middle forward big bopper. So I don't like it for that. I also think you're almost at a disadvantage on attack now to not get the opportunity for a relieving penalty. It kind of just rolls through, and part of me doesn't trust the refs as well. Like things that they wouldn't have blown a penalty for in the past, they can now just raise a 6 more, and it seems like the consequences aren't as big with that. Do you get what I'm saying there?
I get what you're saying, and I think the biggest thing for me is that the biggest issue with the 6 agains and stuff is on the line attacking, teams just give away the 6 agains like close to their line,
reset, right?
and it quickens the game up, and I understand that, but you get to a point where it's like the teams are just like giving away penalties because they can, and it's just 6 again, and they'll hope that they then make a mistake. So I think that was actually the issue that they needed to look at rather than the 20-40 defensive line, because they're speeding the game up from the 40 to the 20 or whatever, but I feel like it was that part of the game that they needed to adjust. But
it's an interesting point because that's the easiest place to defend on your goal line, right? You're not getting back the 10 metres. That's where they feel the most comfortable. So
you're running into a brick wall because they're just like giving away penalties.
That's a fair point. Maybe they change it on attacks. You have the opportunity to take the 2, or you can keep
I want the 2. You can keep playing if you want, but let's say it's in the 10th minute. You want the 2. You don't want to just keep going against a brick wall. So that's where I thought that they could have made the change. But
don't mind that.
The next one is they've endorsed a trial of a proposed rule regarding the non-scoring team having the option of kicking off or receiving the rip from the restart. The change will be trialled in games with no bearing effect on the finals on the back of the end of 2026 season before further consideration. What was your thoughts on this? Because it was a highly talked about topic.
Yeah, I'm stoked that this didn't go through. I'm nervous that it's being trialled. At the same time, they basically said they're going to trial it in the Pooslinger games, the shit ones at the end, that Sunday.
Sunday Arvo, Canberra Raiders,
literally,
Knights.
Literally, or Tigers, Titans. Like, they're going to roll it out in games that don't mean anything towards the end of the year. I watch those games. I watch them anyway, but I'll be watching with extra interest to see how it plays out. This kickoff rule, though, I'm not for it. For me, they're trying to do two things. They are trying to encourage short kickoffs. They don't want guys back fencing it anymore. So, obviously, the chasing team, they're going to want the ball back, right? Because they want to pull off the comeback. And that's what they're trying to eliminate, basically, is short kickoffs to stop these big collisions, NFL styles, like how they tweaked the kickoff rule. It also means, like I said, like so many of the finishes last year in games, we saw teams come back from 10 down with 5 minutes to go. Like those Canberra Raiders, Broncos games, that Canberra Penrith game, those were some of the best games of the year. And you simply won't get that anymore. You're almost rewarding a team for conceding a try. It should be the other way around. The team that scores decides what they do with it. But
yeah, the coaches had an interesting say on this because different coaches had different sort of opinions on whether it. And I know that a lot of probably the older coaches were like, just stick with what's working. Like there's no issue with it. So I don't know. That's the last of the sort of rule changes. What is your overall thoughts on whether it's improved the game or not?
I think. Well, part of me thinks it ain't broke, so don't fix it.
True.
And the spectacle last year was so good. But I do think the ones they've implemented will benefit overall. I think the biggest change to the game will be the interchange one. And that's the one I'm most excited about. So stoked this kickoff one didn't go through. But they're planting the seed, aren't they? And they're just hoping that people like it when they see it at the end of the year.
Yep, 100%. So let's get on to the big news of sort of the last hour and a half, State of Origin 2027. Reportedly, not all things confirmed, but it's going to happen. Game 2 in New Zealand. I'm assuming it's going to be mid-June, late June. That's sort of when Game 2 happens. So what are your initial thoughts?
Love it. Eden Park.
Yeah.
It's going to be packed, right?
Full-time sports bar from 3 o'clock in the Arvo.
Imagine it. Yeah, from early Arvo, just having some beers, getting around it. Atmosphere is going to be crazy. And I get people saying it's an Australian competition, why bring it here? My counter to that is if you're going to play a game in Perth, like you can't tell me that Kiwis aren't more interested in rugby league than the people of Perth or the people of Melbourne, to be fair. Like Melbourne don't really give a shit about the Storm, let alone State of Origin. Adelaide, like I think Auckland, I get that they're Australian cities, but I think Kiwis and Auckland gets around it just as much as those states, if not more. I also reckon it's so good for the game here. Like I get that kids in the stands won't go on to want to play State of Origin, but they might be sitting there watching rugby league played on one of the biggest stages. The place is packed. You've got Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o, all these superstars in front of them. That might be enough to make them say, Dad, Mum, I want to play rugby league, which can only be good for the game here too. So I reckon it's going to sell out in minutes.
I think you'll struggle to get a ticket in the minutes.
100%. I'll see if I can pull some strings for us, mate. See what we can do. But
from full time from midday, I reckon.
No, the biggest problem I think we're going to face is what time the kickoff is. If it's a 10 o'clock kickoff, then that kind of rules out kids in that going along. And that's when you can question growth of the game because they will want an Aussie to keep that 8 p.m. time slot, right? Prime time.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards it's going to be, I think they'll bargain it because obviously New Zealand would probably want to do 7:30. So yeah. I'm assuming that they're going to somewhat meet in the middle and it will be 8:30 or 8:45. I mean, even 9, if they broadcast it as 9, I still think that's difficult to sell to a New Zealand audience. I think if they sell it 8:45, they sell the 8:30-ish area, I think that's the sweet spot. But, I mean, I've got no complaints.
I can't wait. Like, so many Kiwis have an Origin game on their bucket list. The fact it's game 2, series on the line, no matter what team wins game 1, there's a chance for someone to take it home, and this just makes the cost so much easier and more accessible. And Eden Park, the home of the Blues, so it's only right New South Wales get it 13 plus.
We will see about that.
Happy days.
What about Tino? Big Tino recommits to the Titans till 2030.
Oh, I had to double take it this one, eh? I was quietly confident that he would not be there. I thought he'd be going back to Melbourne. I thought they got this Pappenhausen money, they got this Nelson money. They haven't really done anything with it at the moment. I thought he would be going back to the Storm for sure. So, well done to Tino, I guess. Well done to the Titans. They've obviously sold him the dream. New coaching staff there, new setup. Maybe he's loving life there. Yeah, I don't know. Every day that goes past, I reckon Pappenhausen's coming back to Melbourne at some stage this year, or back to rugby league at least, and I reckon back to the Storm. I think he'll miss it. But, yeah, I thought Tino was as good as gone.
let's not kid ourselves, though. It's not difficult to live on the Gold Coast and get paid that much money.
True,
Obviously, playing rugby league, the physical toll, but it's not a difficult lifestyle, I wouldn't imagine.
I reckon Tino's a winner, though.
Yeah,
and
true.
So they've obviously sold him on the future there, and they do have some young talent, as I said, new coach and things like that, but...
I don't know.
What, Keanu Kinney?
I'm not doubting the talent there. I'm just saying, like, going to selling them the dream to win games and win championships and titles. I think that's slightly...
you think he's just copped it and he's just taking lifestyle play?
Yeah,
few RSLs, beers.
Pre-season footy this weekend. It's back.
Yep.
The Bulldogs versus the Cows will start there before the Dragons on the Knights. Dogs, Cows, do you want to sort of talk us through some players that you're looking forward to seeing? Obviously, you probably don't know every player.
No.
There's some names in there that I was like, shoot, who are those? So, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, first lot of the preseason games, all eyes on Vegas for these teams. So there's certainly not some household names in there, that's for sure. But a few players that stood out to me for the Dogs, Gordon Chan Kum Tong at 9, obviously made the move from Manly, and I think he's a genuine chance to make their 17 in Vegas. Obviously no Reid Marnie there now, so the hooking role is a bit up for debate there, and I think he's a really good player, so excited to see him at 9. Fletcher Baker at 14, down from the Broncos. He could be a nice pickup for them. And then Big Zion Ma'u off the bench, because Warriors fans will remember him. It's crazy how time flies, right? Massive uproar when we let him go, supposedly.
That was one of the biggest storylines around the Warriors when it happened.
How many Warriors fans do you reckon even remember it now, right? Now that we've had the emergence of all these other young middle forwards, it's pretty crazy. But I'm excited to see him rip in jersey 16. For the Cowboys, Mason Barber, their fullback. Absolute gun, quick, mad feet, had a shoulder injury in last year's preseason, so had surgery, didn't play at all. The kid's like a genuine talent, so excited to see how he goes there, only 19 years old. And then a couple interesting ones. Jackson Purdue at 6. That tells me Tommy Dearden's going to play 7 this year. That's a cool little combo. He could be a nice little fantasy buy. Lukey in the second row. He was talked up as being better than Nanai, so hopefully he can stay injury-free. And then Thomas McKelly, the skipper. Prop, only played 10 games for them last year. Big.
Good footballer.
Yeah, 1.90 m, 115 kilos. I thought he was young. He's 28, which to me is still young, but that's not young. Like, this should be his year. He's been one of those guys every year, they're like so much potential. He's a big body in that, but to see him be named as skipper tells me he's had a pretty good preseason, so...
Yep, those are some good players to watch. And then if we go to the next game the Knights, sorry.
Yeah, Knights Dragons.
I was just confused there.
Nah,
there's actually some decent names in and around the squads. Yep. Obviously, it's not full strength, nowhere near, but there's still some good footballers. Tyrell Sloan at the fullback.
Yeah, this one seems like there's more talent on display for sure.
First graders.
Yeah. For the Dragons, Setu Tu on the wing, again being a Warriors fan, he's recently made the move over there, and there's chat that he's going to get an opportunity to earn a round 1 jersey. They've been really impressed with him at preseason, so he'll be a good watch. The Couchman brothers, good to see returning from injury. Big fans of theirs, as I am Halangahu in the pack as well. So a couple young gun Raiders middle forwards there in the mix that I think will be well and truly in their 17. And then for the Knights, Fletcher Sharp, Sandon Smith, 6 and 7. Fletcher Sharp, he's an interesting one this year. Like, where does he fit into this team? I see Greg Marju named on the wing. I heard a rumour that he won't be in the team round 1, that it's going to be Sharp and Dommy Young, and that Greg potentially Super League. So,
wow.
You never know with these rumour mills, mate. You can be led astray, but he's a bloody good winger, right? And he's fighting for a spot. So it does show like the Knights low-key have some talent. It's just a depth issue there. I like Jermaine McEwen in the second row, taking Kai Pearce-Paul's spot. He played a handful of games last year, only 19 years old, big body. And then that Connor Vitano off the bench, young fullback. Played 1 game for them late last year, but watched New South Wales Junior Origin. He carved up too. So yeah, a couple watches there. Because let's be honest, it's not your most exciting first weekend of preseason footy. So you like to have a couple guys that you just keep an eye on, cast the eye over. So hopefully that can tick a box for footy fans. I'm going to watch both games anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because rugby league's back. How bloody good is it? But yeah, look, the 4 Vegas teams this year in general, not that exciting.
No, and it's not. And we'll move on to your Premiership multi. And if we do that, I'm pretty sure you won't be including any of those 4 teams.
No.
Or you might not be. But yeah, so run us through your Premiership multi. Talk to us, obviously, on the TAB. There's loads of options for future markets. So talk us through your multi.
Yeah, I wanted to chuck this in there because there's a Premiership multi-builder option on the TAB. It's a separate segment under the Rugby League section, and there's some really good odds around futures. I did this last year. It's really good fun. I love doing future future bets. You can just ride them home all year, and you can be pretty gutted because you get indications early that one of your teams might not make it. But I've made up a multi based off some top 8, top 4 grand final, 3+ legs in each one. I'll do my top 8 predictions, my proper ones, probably the week of the Vegas games, because I want to have a look at some preseason. But I think I'm pretty set on 5 of those teams to make it. Panthers, Roosters, Broncos, Storm, Warriors. I'm thinking those 5 will be in the top 8 for sure. If you multi them up, you get $6.25. I reckon that's not bad. I think it's then Raiders, Sharks, Dogs, Bunnies, Finns make up the rest of the spot.
The Finns are a lock for me for the top 8.
Yeah,
I genuinely reckon they're in. They're not only is their squad good, I think they're actually going to be fired up from last year. They've got new players coming back, and geez, I wouldn't rule them out from a top 8. At 190, that's a good league to add.
That is a good league. So if we lock in the Finns then, and I want to lock in the Raiders, because I think regardless, that 4-pack
they will make
is
it,
insane. They will make it, which leaves 1 spot for the Sharks, Dogs, and Bunnies. Like, this is crazy this year. You could chuck Para in there too if Mitch Moses
Sharks,
is healthy.
Bunnies, and what was the last
Dogs.
one? So run through the top 8 again that you.
Okay, so my 5 locks are the Panthers, Roosters, Broncos.
Panthers, Roosters, Broncos.
I think the Melbourne Storm will be there, and the Warriors.
Yeah, so that's 5.
Yep. You're saying Finns, I like the Finns as well.
So you're not against that?
No, 100%. I'm not. You could sell me on a top 4 if they're healthy, but no Jeremy Marshall-King
so we'll
for
go
the first 4-6. So
we'll
go
go
top
7th.
8. Yep. Raiders, they're in there.
Shit.
So you got 1 spot left. Sharks, soft draw as they get every year.
Why is it always that they get the soft draw? That's like a reoccurring thing.
I don't know, but this is the last year before a handful of their superstars leave as well. So they'll be pretty desperate.
They'll go close.
Yeah, they'll go close. Dogs. Fuck.
Geez, they've got to make it, surely.
You'd think so. Leo Thompson in there. Bloody good team, but you could sell me on like a Galvin downfall. I don't know. There's juicy narratives.
So who's that left though? But the Bunnies, man.
If they're healthy, you could see it going horribly wrong for them with injuries again. But if they're healthy, and I still reckon Para.
I'm saying the Para aren't going to make it.
Okay, so there's 9 teams then that we will come up with our top 8 Vegas week, and we will lock it in.
Yeah, so we've got 9 currently, but that could be 10.
That could be 10. But yeah, so 625 for that top 5 into top 8 type of multi. I reckon that's a good shout.
Yep, very, very good. And I want to get your thoughts on this Warriors rumour that's been circulating.
We mentioned rumours. They can be dangerous.
Can you calm the fans down, please, about all of this talk about it? Calm Pereira, where he's going to play, whether he's playing reserve grade, whether he's training in this bib, whether he's training in that bib, whether he's injured. What are you hearing? What has the rumours been happening, and what actually is the case?
My DMs blew up. I think it was the Mole or a fantasy page first was like AKP training with the top side, Dells and the Bees. Where it came from, there was a 13 versus 13 that other weekend, and members were invited. And clearly a member's gone along, seen the different coloured jerseys, put 2 and 2 together and gone, holy, Dells on that team, he must be in the Bees, because AKP was in the side with Tanner Boyd and that in the halves. But the teams, I can tell you now, like if that was the Bees team that Dell was in, then Fish, Lecker and Roger are also playing in the Bees, which I find extremely hard to believe. So somewhere along this rumour mill, it's really spiraled.
Well, they can't play in the same. They can't play in the same team. So one of them's going to be in the Bees either way. Well, the Bees,
yes, 100%. But also they were balanced teams, like they were even. So I don't think it was A's and B's. I think it was just like, here's 2 sides, go at it. It's too early for A's and B's. If they're doing A's and B's before the first preseason game, then that's completely unfair. So I will say these rumours, man, like they pick up momentum quick too. Just stay calm, Warriors fans. I know we're excited. Everyone wants to see what's going down. You won't truly know until that last preseason game the way that Webby is leaning. And now with this extended bench, like what's to say someone like a Calm Pereira, if they go with Dell and they go with last year's starting side, you'd chuck him on a bench for sure. He could turn a game in a minute. So
Surly Talks Sport reveals that that Canberra is and Dallin are not, like it's interchangeable. It's not revealed yet.
13 versus 13 at training, and the jerseys they are wearing
4 weeks before the
first preseason game is not how it's going to play out.
Okay.
Mainly more so because Lecker, Fish, Rog, like those guys are not in the Bees.
All right, can't wait for that all to get started, but let's get into the rugby chat now. There's a lot going on. Should we start with our good mates, Sir Steve Hansen and Ian Foster, reportedly coming back, sort of approach? I think there's a little bit of journalism stuff in that about how they've just been approached. Like, I think you'll find that they are one of the 7 or 8 people that are eligible for the role, meaning that they've probably been approached for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what are your thoughts originally?
When I first saw it, I got excited. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Ooh.
Like, the band is back together, like this 2015 World Cup winning duo. And I think we're quick to forget that 2015 team. Like, a lot of people could have coached them to glory, not taking anything away from those coaches, but I know for a fact that the players love that too as a combo. And people close to it were saying that that's the players' preferred combo, and that's why they hit them up, basically. But they're working together at the moment in Japan.
Not going that well.
No, not going that well, but you need some good cattle too. And they've got a few good players in there, but they're also not as stacked as some of the sides going around. I think it's exciting in the terms of 1.5 year in and out hit job, and then Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown, Joe Schmidt get it for that next World Cup cycle once Schmidt and Tony Brown have done their man of their word thing and they're available again. That's what gets me the most excited, is I think they're the best temporary solution if that's what we want long term, rather than muddying the waters, throwing Jamie Joe in now and then we clear out the assistants again. I think for a short-term massive effect, they are the 2 coaches to do that. And wouldn't it just be funny to see Fozzie lifting the World Cup trophy next year, just pulling the fingers to everyone. Yeah, I like it. I know you're in this world. You'll have an opinion on it as well. What's your thoughts?
I agree with everything you've said, and I do believe that Tony Brown will be the coach of the assistant coach of the All Blacks in 2027 after the World Cup with Jamie Joseph. That's my strong belief as well. Mm-hmm. I'm also of the belief that this Fozzie coming back would more be an assistant role. I feel like that's the most likely scenario. That's not me saying that that's what I want to happen.
So
but
Steve Head?
But I just don't think that's what's going to happen. If I'm looking at what's likely to happen, it's probably a Jamie Joseph as the head coach. I just think that's... and then Fozzie as the attack coach assistant with a defence coach from around the world.
So no Hansen.
So no Hansen. That's, I think, the most likely scenario if Fozzie was to be involved. I think there's a lot of talk about it. I just don't think they're going to go there. It's an interesting one. That's just my thoughts on it.
So you're still sold on Jamie Joe? Because last week we were both saying we think he already has the job. But every day that goes by makes me a little bit like, why wouldn't they have just announced it?
I just think they can't not give it to him.
Yeah.
They've given him the All Blacks 15 job. He's applied the last 2 times and not got it and finished second. I just think they have to give it to him.
Wouldn't you be a little bit pissed at the moment?
I'd be gone.
Being like, why are you still offering, why haven't you given it to me? Like, in a way, you'd be like, screw you guys, like, I want it.
And there was lots of talk about whether Dave Rennie was actually keen to apply for the role and keen to actually take on a role. So that'll be an interesting one. There's a lot going on, but something that is going on, Dane Coles, part of the selection panel.
Yes.
Thoughts? Colesy?
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this. I reckon he's the guy, culture-wise, to make the best selection in terms of All Black. Like, he's a locker room guy, right? Great player, takes his footy seriously, but off the field, he liked a good time too, and he was a bit of a character around. And I think in terms of culture, environment, which was a big knock on Razor, right? His inability to switch off, allow the lads to be themselves, have a bit of fun. It was all just footy. So I think Colesy is a great person to throw in there. There was all this chat around Richie McCaw and things like that. Again, crazy how rumours spiral, but I was excited to see Colesy in the mix. So just quickly too, did you know Steve Hansen is Samoan High Chief?
No, I didn't.
Bro,
no.
Crazy work,
Did you just pick this up in
Crazy work, yeah. Someone told me yesterday, bro. So really? I looked into it. So it's a village near Apia, and he received it on behalf of the All Blacks when they trained in Samoa 2015.
They played a couple of games over there.
Yeah, so he's a Samoan High Chief, which... Put him
so in. Are we putting him in the
Put him in, just because of that? Yeah. But your thoughts on Colesy? Because I like it. I reckon he's... If you're not getting a Carter, if you're not getting a Richie, then DC's up there. We do now have 2 hookers on the panel, though.
Yeah, not only that, there's a couple of questions about it. Like Dane Coles, brilliant player, brilliant culture man, loved the All Blacks, brilliant servant. But I'm not sure he was the best on discipline in the All
No,
Blacks. And that's an issue.
What's that line where he dropped the C-bomb, mate?
Whatever
he
it
was
was.
Shit, he's a mouthy.
He's not exactly the most clean individual on discipline. So that's one question mark. Obviously, I'm half joking here. And then the second one is there was talks of how he was coached by Jamie Joseph in his early days, back at high school or wherever it was, and then also the love of Fozzie being there, but then Fozzie also excluded him out of the World Cup 23 for the final in his last game, and there's all
bias.
that drama.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't really pick a better person for the job. And Richie McCaw's already going to be involved because he's the Players Association rep or whatever. So he's already got a say anyway. So out of the people that they could have chosen, I think Dane Coles is the right one. So we'll get to the Super Rugby laws now. Big news this week. I really enjoyed reading these. We'll go through it. We'll do the same thing as the NRL rules. I'll read them out to you now. It will no longer be mandatory for the referee to issue a yellow card or red card to a player on the defending team when awarding a penalty try. Any sanction will be at the discretion of the referee. Thoughts?
Love that. I think a penalty try is already punishment enough for a majority of things, right? So the fact that they had to then card them, like you see collapse mauls, things like that.
And they just pick one.
Yeah, and they just pick, and they're like, you're gone. And you're like, shit, this is my first infringement the whole time. The boys are already off me because we've conceded a try. So I 100% agree with that. I would have liked to have seen no penalties for professional knockdowns.
Yes.
I would have liked to have seen that rule.
That is the one that's
similar thing, like no automatic yellow or red for that. But I really like this rule.
I think that another important thing with that is that it says it will no longer be mandatory. But if it was a scenario where there is a professional foul, penalty try or whatever, like something along those lines, they can still give the yellow cards.
Yeah. Oh, there's some that deserve it.
There's some that you're like, mate, he's got to go.
Taken out in the air, clear as, you're like, off you go.
So it's good they haven't completely ruled it out. It's just the referee gets to make the decision. So love that one. And the next one is accidental offsides and teams delaying playing the ball away from the ruck will result in free kicks rather than scrums.
Speed the game up.
Yeah. Cameron Roygaard's going to have a field day with that.
Free kick king, right? Yeah. I love this too. Like, this is what rugby needs. Less set pieces, as crazy as it sounds, or in particular at certain times, right? So all for this.
This is the best one for me, this one coming. After the referee has called use it at the ruck, no additional players from the team in possession may join the ruck. It's going to stop that little caterpillar for the box kick. And what are your thoughts?
I love that too. My only thing with quite a few of these rules, and I'm all for them, because I think it makes a better spectacle, is that when we then go to international footy and we play this northern style of rugby where the caterpillar box kick is huge, right? They want to slow the game down. Do you think it's like, there's one coming up too, the 50-22, right? So that's going to encourage, like you can pass it back into the 22, into the halfway now and kick a 50-22. That's going to encourage teams to kick long, not high, which is what they're trying to do, is pin opposition teams back, so less box kicking, which everyone seems to hate over here. When you look at South Africa, England, France, that's the strength of their game, is box kicks, getting up in the air. Do you think that these rules and playing this way trains us a certain way, and then come July, all of a sudden the skill sets we're not good at only get weaker, and the stuff that we are quite good at gets stronger?
It's a completely valid point. I think two things. There's no way that Super Rugby have done this and not sort of talk to World Rugby about whether this is like a direction that they're going in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and also Super Rugby, Jack Measley, the CEO, can't look at it and go, shoot, we've got to like tailor ourselves to this world game instead of harming our product. So it's harming our product, not making these changes. So we can't just like sit on their laurels and go, no.
Yeah, they want bums on seats.
So they want bums on seats. They want their product to improve.
Yeah.
So stuff the rest of it. Like, we're going to change this and hope that our players are going to enjoy, the product's going to be better, we're going to gain more money. So I think that's the biggest thing from it, but there's definitely some question marks.
Because I think already we've seen it to a lesser extent, right? And I love it. It's going to make watching games better, right? And it's a spectacle. We speed up the game. It becomes way more entertaining. Just, not to the detriment of international footy. But like you said, surely there's some law changes on the horizon for international stuff too. But the powers that be, like the English Rugby Union, will contest the shit out of that Caterpillar one.
Yeah, definitely. Teams will be permitted to pass the ball back into their half before kicking a 50-22. We just talked about that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind it. It just pushes opposition back threes back further, right? So it creates more opportunity to attack from anywhere on the field, which I like, 100%. It just reminds me of the old days where you could pass back into the 22 and kick out as well. But yeah, they're trying to keep ball in play. They're trying to stop teams from box kicking, kick long.
Players will be allowed to take quick taps within 1 metre either side of the mark or anywhere behind the mark if they are within that 2 metre channel running parallel to the touchlines. Love that rule.
Yeah, love that too. Always hate it when the ref will blow it up because he was half a metre in front.
And you're like, I'm there. Like, I'm right there.
And the ref hasn't set the mark yet. It's like, just go, let it play on. That's like, they do it in sevens. Makes it so much easier to watch.
And then the last one, which isn't an exact rule, but they've kind of reconfirmed something. The rules and guidelines issued around the use of the TMO have been confirmed for another season, continuing its attempt at improving the flow of the game and allowing the on-field officials to make more decisive decisions. Super Rugby Pacific has confirmed that the TMO will only intervene if the on-field referee has missed a clear and obvious infringement in the lead-up to a try, or if the referee misses serious foul play. Thoughts?
International rugby, please adopt the same rule.
Great rule, eh?
Great rule. And no one ever complains about TMO intervention in Super Rugby. And I think that's why it makes watching international rugby so hard for some people now, is because they go from the super product.
Which is good now.
Yeah, which is good now, into that, and you get frustrated, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, why is the TMO getting so much involvement? It's because you're getting trained one way, then jumping across. So this is the main one international rugby needs to pick up on. But yeah, love it. Less TMO interaction. I'd rather a ref get it wrong than the TMO pipe up all the time. 100%.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the preseason games that are in the next couple of days. Let's get onto that. Let me just get those up. I mean, the Blues Crusaders, you can't get a lot better than that.
No, only downfall is it's at Takapuna Rugby
I was going to
Club.
say you might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I was keen as to go, and then I saw it was at Taka and it was $15, and I think some of the ticket proceeds will be going to Taka, and I just can't bring myself to pay that money knowing that some might go to them. So yeah, proud Northcote man, not going to stump up the money, but that'll be a great game. I think, are these the only teams that haven't named their team? A few franchises have named their teams. Couple haven't.
We've got confirmation that the Blues will announce a lineup this week after last week's lineup.
That was random, eh?
Very random. So the Crusaders will have a lineup too. The Highlanders are taking on Moana Pacifica.
Yep.
Highlanders obviously got a tough loss last week against Crusaders. First of all, Blues thoughts, Crusaders thoughts. Crusaders with a good victory last week against the Highlanders.
Yeah, good victory. Fast start. And then just too far ahead, basically, for the Landers to peg back. Quality side, the Crusaders as well. I think they picked up a couple injuries, but nothing major, right? Like Dallas McLeod, head knock, nothing too bad. And the young under-20s winger picked up a hammy injury. But realistically, like probably wasn't in the starting 15 at least anyway. So great to see Blackadder come through unscathed. And this Blues game this week is just going to go up another notch for sure. It was interesting, though. Jimmy Marshall said he doesn't think a lot of All Black involvement the first couple of weeks. So.
Well, we thought the exact same, and then the Hurricanes just like, sweet. Well, Safa Amor was playing for us.
Yep.
Then they're like, Ruben Love starting at 10. Then Geordie Barrett's the captain at 12. So there's all that. There's the no All Blacks, and then there's All Blacks. So
do you think that is because they have the bye the first week,
so they've
sold it as they get next week off? Because someone like Geordie, right? Like if other All Blacks aren't allowed to play preseason, it's not like he had low minutes. He came from Ireland into international. Like he's played a shit ton of code, but I'm excited about it. Like Ruben Love, Geordie. 10-12, the first time we get to see that combination, I'm really keen. The other thing that stood out to me, the loose forward trio is unreal, and there's no Lakai and there's no Duplessis Karifi. The Canes have a pack, which, like we spoke about Warner Durns last week. Like
he's playing.
Yeah, that pushes them up a big time. Like that pack 1 to 8 and even bench depth. Like someone like a Devon Flanders is probably going to have to come off the pine when everyone's fit and healthy. It'll be him and Braden Yorse going at it, really. And they're both bloody good players. So Kane's the real deal this year.
Very much so. Last question on the Canes. Ruben Love 10, Geordie Barrett 12, and Harkin 15, or Morby 15, or is it Geordie Barrett 15 and Riley Higgins at 12?
Oh, well, they have said, right? Corey Jane, I think, came out and said, Ruben Love wants to play a lot of 10, and we want to see a bit of Geordie at 15, and he's not going to like it, but we like it. As an All Black fan, I kind of want to see it again, because like Geordie does a great job for us at 12, but if we have Quintu Paia, Tavatava Nawai, guys like that, then we have midfielders too, and this Riley Higgins can play. So it's going to be an interesting one. You got Brett Cameron, who's a quality 10 as well. He'll probably come off the bench. They've got options there as well. And speaking of Tavatava Nawai, I saw he was named on the bench for the Landers, which is sick to see too, because he was the superstar of last year's Super Rugby, and gutted he was ruled out for the All Blacks, because I wanted to see more of him at that level as well.
And we'll move on to some international footy. We've just spoken some average stuff about international football and their rules, but we'll get on to some Six Nations action. France versus Ireland, 9:10 Friday morning, Waitangi Day.
Oh, that's great way to start the day, right? How good is it? I like France in this one, but I think it's going to be close. I reckon the Six Nations is going to be elite. England, they look the goods to me. Their bench is stacked, like Atoje, Curry, Pollock, Marcus Smith. They're on an 11-game win streak. They're
not going to lose to Wales.
No, and I think their last loss was actually in the opening game of last year's Six Nations. But like you said, that's not happening to Wales. I think this is tied their record for their longest ever win streak since like Clive Woodward days back in 2000, 2001. So I know that whoever comes second in our World Cup pool plays England, and everyone's parading that as the great option. Avoid South Africa. Well, England are quietly doing pretty well as well.
I don't want to play them either.
No, exactly. Yeah, you're on a hiding to nothing. But I like France to beat Ireland. Agreed?
Yeah.
I like Scotland to beat Italy.
Yeah.
And I like England to beat Wales.
20 plus.
By plenty. Yeah, I do think the Welsh are going to improve a bit over these next couple years because they have some young talent there. But this England team, man, like what a luxury having guys like Curry.
Give us your quick table of your prediction before it's starting. You got France, Scotland, Ireland, Italy, England, Wales. That's just in a random order. What is your six? Start from the bottom.
Prediction. England top. Sorry,
yeah, go 1 to 6 then.
France second, Scotland third.
Yeah, good.
Ireland fourth, Italy then Wales.
Yeah,
I love Scotland. I love watching them play.
Scotland.
That back line is hissing. Great forward pack too. I'd love to see them finish second, but I just think France, in particular in France, so hard to beat.
Touch quickly on the World Cup draw. It's the Wallabies versus Chile or whatever it is. Hong Kong, China to start.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Should it have been the All Blacks?
100%.
Yeah.
I get what they are saying around the first game's going to sell out regardless. If I'm a rugby fan in Perth, which is where the first games are, and I've been sold the dream, lead to believe that it's going to be All Blacks Wallabies. To see Wallabies versus Hong Kong, then All Blacks versus Chile the day after, you'd be heartbroken. They've set it up so that this game is second, so they sell more tickets again, and then that game's in Sydney, which makes sense. But the All Blacks, like all these big games are basically now just in Sydney, right? It's not really a World Cup that's going to grow the game across Australia. And I think everyone, including the players, wanted that to be the first game. I think it's the first time we've ever played the Wallabies in pool play. Normally it's always in finals time. So what a sick way to kick things off. The only positive for me is NRL Grand Final is going to be the weekend before. So that'll be on the Sunday, and then the following Saturday in Sydney will be the All Blacks Wallabies.
Wow. So is the first weekend of
October is NRL Grand Final weekend.
In Sydney.
Yeah, and then the following weekend. So it does make sense, I guess, that they didn't want to clash the Wallabies All Blacks game with that too.
Air New Zealand, if you're listening.
Bro, imagine just parking up for the week. You watch the Warriors win the grand final, then you watch the All Blacks pump the Wallabies with Ian Foster, Jamie Joseph, all at the helm. Say Lacey Ray
selling the dream.
I'm keen on that, mate. But what do you reckon? Drop the ball?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not massively against it. I think it actually gives the Wallabies a better chance of beating the All Blacks.
But do we want the first games, both of them, to be 90-0? Like, no,
I think
I've got a couple
got
mates in the Hong Kong teams. I feel bad saying that, but I think
it will be.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I don't think it matters too much. No, I think like you said, both are going to get sold out. All the All Blacks games, all the Wallabies games are going to get sold out at a home World Cup. So, yeah, it's not a major deal for me. Obviously, slightly annoying. Yeah. But I think I don't want to go to Perth.
No.
So I'm pretty happy that it's Sydney.
True. Yeah, it makes it more accessible for fans to just go over for the day.
And how about the Blackfern Sevens in Singapore?
I just wanted to pump them up because what a team. And what a player Georgia Miller is.
Best player in the country.
Oh, at 21, she's already one of the best Sevens players we've produced. Like, you could argue that men's or women's. Like, she made her Blackfern Sevens debut, 3-4 years ago now, at 17, 18 years old, went on to win World Rugby Rookie of the Year, second season nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year. She is just crazy, man. She's now played 118 games for that Blackfern Sevens, scored 76 tries, 380 points, turns 22 this weekend. She's a game changer, man. Yeah. Like, her physicality, her skill set, her speed, she's just such a pleasure to watch. I love watching that Blackferns team, in particular the Sevens team, just because of their vibe, their culture, and the way they play. But to me, she's pushed it up another level, eh?
Yeah, she's the best player that we've almost got in the country. Like, just unreal talent.
Yeah.
Just, I love the way they go about their business. They just win, eh?
Yeah,
they just win. Nothing changes.
Bro, they bashed that Aussie team. Like, they were so physical.
They push up too. Their high press in the opposition half. They kick long. They chase. They all move like accordingly. It's a really good watch. But what about the men's?
Men's team improving too, though. Yep. Improving too. There's been some lean years, and there's some good young talent there. We've got some gas too. Of course, we went down to Fiji.
They should have won that game.
Yeah, we should have. But anytime we lose to Fiji, I can excuse it. I feel like those embarrassing losses are kind of gone now. But this weekend in Perth, so let's see if the lads can run it back and go one further.
Got to make a final. Surely a final.
Yep.
And then we've got to get onto this carnage, absolute carnage in the NBA today. Do you want to run us through some of the big trades? What tickled your fancy today?
Yeah, I love trade deadline, eh?
It's
so exciting. Like, you turn your notifications on and shit just pops off 24/7. Old James must have a tough job, bro.
The 24-hour screen time.
Literally out the gate. But the Harden to Cleveland one was pretty exciting. James Harden, 36 years old, goes to a contender team and has a chance to win really this year, paired up alongside Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. I think it's his 5th team in 6 seasons, so not great from that aspect. And if he never wins a ring, then that will be the biggest knock on him. But he's playing unreal this year. It's funny, the Clippers actually started to look half good with Kawhi back, and they were starting to win some games. And then this kind of dropped yesterday, and he's gone today. I think it's a little bit of a win-win for both, though. Like, Garland's 26. He's a 2-time All-Star. When he's healthy, he's good. Health's been his biggest problem. So they get him in a second-round pick. I don't think it's like a massive loss for the Cavs, that's for sure. But, yeah, I'm keen to see how Harden looks in Cleveland.
Well, he's on my fantasy team, so I'm a little bit worried about what he's going to do at Cleveland, because he dominates. He dominates proceedings in LA.
Yeah.
And then now he's at Cleveland. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad player there, but, geez, there's a lot of ball to get around.
That's a killer too, because now he's going to sit out the next couple of days while he makes the move, so you're going to miss games there. But that one sucks. Interesting one, Jaren Jackson Jr. leaving Memphis, going to Utah for basically three first-round picks.
Well, yeah, it's nothing now, but
there was like 18 people involved in this trade, and him and Jock Londale were the only ones I recognised, and I only know Jock because he's an Aussie, basically. So it was Jaren Jackson for 3 future first-round picks. And I actually quite like this little Utah roster now, eh? Like Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, they're starting to shape up all right. Walker Kessler, it's going to be an interesting fit to see how it all works. But, yeah, I thought the Memphis guy on the move was Jar, but maybe they hold on to him.
Yeah, it's very interesting the way, because it's like teams that aren't fighting for a title, and it's like they're moving players on for
shoveling shit.
And I'm like, okay, that's all good. It's all well and good, but what are you actually doing? Like, what are you going to get out of this? And
it excites the purists, but not a lot of other people. Another one that I think will have big ramifications, though, is Nikola Vucevic going to the Celtics.
Good player.
Old Vucci, man. Good player. Anthony Simons have been going pretty good off the bench lately, but both are on expiring contracts, and Simons actually gets paid more than Vucevic, which I found interesting. But now they get a centre, which I think is going to be big for the Celtics. He can shoot threes, he can play on the inside, and if Tatum is coming back like they say he is, then that makes that interesting too. But, man, how good is the deadline?
Yeah, it's nuts. You don't really get anything like it. I feel like if you're in the UK, you probably get a lot of the football transfer deadline day, but there's never like 5-team deals with 13 people moving countries in the space of like...
On 5-team deals, do you reckon Giannis goes? The T-Wolves basically had an opportunity today to get Kobe White. They gave away 2 players, and they said, no, we don't want anything back.
We want the Greek.
Yeah, we're creating salary space. We want the Greek freak. They're going to have to give up plenty, but do you reckon they get him?
For reasons to not talk about, I really don't like the Timberwolves.
There we go.
So we'll leave it at that. I hope they don't get Giannis.
Yeah.
And let's hope that they don't win.
I think he goes somewhere, though.
He will. I assume that he's going to go to Minnesota.
Probably number 1 chance, but yeah, that T-Wolves, like seeing him and Edwards together would be kind of scary.
Super Bowl Monday.
Yes. Can't wait.
Wow.
I'm at full-time sports bar. It's going to be a heck of a day. I think it's sold out, so unlucky if you don't have tickets, but food and drink included. So, yeah, fair to say we're not doing a pod next Monday.
No.
We'll kick off the Monday pods the week after, because I will be dusty. But it's a heck of a day. Patriots, Seahawks, $1.44 favourites. Patriots, $2.85. An interesting one for the Seahawks. So, every time a new pope is elected, Seattle have made it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So back in 2005, there was a new pope, and they lost to the Steelers. back in 2013, new Pope, bet the Broncos.
Oh, they did win a Super Bowl, though.
Yep.
So it's not
Yep.
it's
So
not going one of these stories.
It's not
where,
a curse.
Okay,
2025, new Pope. Can they beat the Patriots? Both these teams were paying 60-1 at the start of the year to take it out. So if you got on a futures bet for them, which I feel like no one would have, because you'd have to be a fan of these two teams to jump on board.
Which I'm not, but...
No, neither. But it's going to be an interesting one.
You can't not miss Super Bowl.
Exactly. I feel like both teams have elite defenses, but I do feel like the Seahawks offense is better than the Patriots defense. So I have the Pats to win.
The Pats to win?
Oh, sorry, the Seahawks to win. I was just looking here. Pats D only conceded 26 points across the last 3 games. And Drake May is the man under an injury cloud. Wouldn't mind seeing him win. But I think Darnold puts a real fairy tale story into what has been a tough career for him with the Jets and whatnot. And I think they get the win. There's some interesting bets, though.
What about the Gatorade?
Yeah, well, you can't bet on the Gatorade at the TAB, not yet anyway. There is a coin toss bet though, and I actually won on this last year. It's a chance to win some money pre. Yes, last year it was heads.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it goes tails here this time.
Are you a tails never fails guy?
Well, last year I went heads, but I like to go with the numbers. So it's been heads the last 2 years.
Right.
So surely by law of averages, we go tails here. Tails holds a narrow lead. Across the last 59 Super Bowls, it's been 31-28 to Tails. Tails has won 6 of the last 10, but lost the last 2. $1.98. If you don't give a fuck about the game.
They both won 98?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
This is a great chance to just ride home something before we even get underway.
I'm a big fan of the Gatorade and the coin toss.
Yeah. Yeah,
because you're involved because you're looking on the sideline going, what's that? Like, is that there?
It keeps you interested for sure. The national anthem props they do as well, like
the
over-under a certain amount of time is great too. But yeah, I'm going tails at $1.98. I like Drake May over his rushing yards and Stevenson, the Patriots running back, over rushing yards too. If you want to have a little punt on the Super Bowl. It's rude not to, really. It's one of those sports where you got to have something on it just to make it even more interesting.
And a little bit of disappointing news with the Kiwis, the UFC 325, Dan Hooker obviously going down.
Yeah.
You enjoyed the UFC. I mean, looked like a great weekend, but all things considered, for the Kiwis, it was slightly disappointing.
Yeah, I guess Cam Ralston, the only real shining light, right? Like a great win for him, and he continues to drive his stocks up. Seems like a really good guy. Stoked for Volk. What a beast. Cardio a doom. Lopez can take some shots. There were a couple exchanges there where I thought he should have been knocked out, broke both his feet. So he's tough as shit, but Volk just seems like one of those guys you have to love. Bam Bam, gutted for him. Like 6-fight losing streak now, the longest losing streak in the history of the UFC heavyweight division. Walked out to Olivia Dean, man I need.
Shown.
And I would be lying if I said I didn't live bet him to win as soon as I heard that, because I thought that's an absolute banger. There's no way you walk out to Olivia Dean and get knocked out, but unfortunately there is a way. He lost. He didn't get knocked out, but he lost. I reckon for Bam Bam, this is a prediction, no limit, boxing. Sign it, fight Nelson Asafa Solomona, let Nelson fight the Burgess brother first, get a bit more. Imagine the money a pay-per-view would be. Bam Bam against Nelson, boxing.
Well, we'd have to be there.
Mate, we'd have to fly over for it, obviously. I feel like every pub in Aussie would show it. There would be a knockout, and I reckon that's a great way for him to just collect checks, because clearly the UFC, like, he didn't look fit enough to be fighting, and he's a fan favourite. I love watching him fight, but it's got to that point now. But yeah, a tough one for the Kiwis, Aaron Toe in particular. Like, I see he's going to get another crack at a rematch, which surprised me a little bit. So they're gonna have that fight later on in the year.
Right.
But yeah, he needs to nail it now, because he's a heck of a talent, great fighter too. Just, missing weight, one thing, trying to cheat another. But I was mainly gutted for Dan Hooker. I wanted to see him win that fight and fight Paddy Pimblett, just because they've been going at it, exchange, talking about each other's mums and whatnot.
It's an interesting way to go.
Exactly. I think he had to beat Paddy to get that fight though, so I can't see it happening now.
What is the future for Dan Hooker? Quickly.
I think he'll fight a couple more times.
Right. Couple more?
Oh, one at least, right? Yeah. How many fights does he have left on his deal? They never quite say, but he'll see out his contract for sure. Like, I think I saw that he still got paid over $500,000 for that fight.
Oh, it's not bad.
Because he's still a name, right? So you take that money, you do your 1 minute scraps. I just want to see him fight other strikers, because that's when he's at his best, right? He's a mad dog, heck of a fighter, athlete, but as soon as it goes to the ground, it's kind of over.
T20 World Cup starting this weekend.
Yep.
Talk to us. Are we a
so
chance?
Much sport on. Next weekend's even more cool.
I'm tired reading this list.
Yeah, it's crazy. Are we a chance? Absolutely. I think we are.
Are we going to win it?
Well, I think we're $2.30 to win our pool. South Africa favourites. We're in a tough little pool there. But I like us to win our pool. I think India and all that are going to be tough. Very tough. I think, Sunday, 6:30 we play Afghanistan. That's our first game. So I like us to win that one. I think we're pretty clear favourites in that. $1.52 last time I checked. Finn Allen, 80 runs off 38 balls in his return to the black jersey against India the other night. 8 fours, 6 sixes. He's averaging 62 runs over his last 6 games. Top run scorer for the tournament, and he guides the Black Caps to glory. I reckon we get around the Caps. It'll be unreal to see us. We've got the squad to do it. Just unfortunately, sometimes on the biggest stages in these type of tournaments, we do let ourselves down.
It's going to be tough in India.
That's the thing. Beating India over there, mental.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. is the first game Sunday night, New Zealand against Afghanistan. And then we've got the UAE, 10:30 p.m. Tuesday. And then South Africa on the next Sunday, 2:30 a.m. And then 6:30 p.m. for the last one on Tuesday.
I like the 6:30 p.m. slot.
That's a great slot.
Yeah, you watch the start of the news, which you do these days. It's all doom and gloom. And then you turn it over and watch Finn Allen just fucking seeing it like beach balls, just whacking it over the fence, hopefully. So, love that. And
then how about the last feel-good story? Probably the feel-good story of the year. Give him the Halberg Award.
Yeah.
Give him all of the Halberg Awards.
At
Sam
16.
Ruthe, 16 years old. Do you have any words left?
I was just trying to think what I was doing at 16, and it was
not doing that.
All. Yeah, exactly. This bloke's out here breaking world records, breaking New Zealand records, 11th fastest time ever globally for the indoor mile. It's pretty mental. He just seems like a great kid with a good head on his shoulders. He's obviously fast as fuck, and it's cool to see his dad kind of running the cutter with all his media.
Yeah, it's a commentary.
Yeah, well, you love that, right? So, all I'm saying is I hope he qualifies for the Commonwealth Games in May. You were saying he needs to run that time again once more before May, right?
From what I've heard is that he has run the time that you need to qualify, but I think some sort of rule is that you've got to do it twice to show that it's not just some one-off time.
I think they have a Group A and Group B qualification, and for Group A, which is auto, you got to run that time twice. I really hope he does it. That will add so much interest to the Commonwealth Games for me, just being able to watch this teenage sensation run. Yeah, I just find him really refreshing, he's exactly what you want in a young Kiwi athlete, and I saw ESPN posted it. He's making global noise, which is sick to see.
13:40 for a 5K.
That's fucked.
That's nuts.
I want to see a Bronco.
Yeah.
I want to see him run a Bronco.
Point.
He would tear shit up. Because what's he running? 349.
348 miles.
Yeah,
148 for 800 meters.
That's fucked. Because a Bronco's 1.2. So you're thinking he's running low threes, but you got turns in there.
Yeah, but you've got bends in the running. You're going around the outside, and then the race, you're sort of dodging a couple people.
See, this is where end of the year you have him, you have Cam Roigard, these guys you take the quickest Bronco from every New Zealand sport, you chuck them in. It's like an All-Stars weekend and go. And I'd pay-per-view to watch it. I'd want to watch that shit. It would be unreal. But yeah, that's us this week. As we said, a lot to talk about. We've wrapped her up now, but hope you enjoyed the pod. Next week is going to be even more chaos. We've got the Warriors back in action. We've got the first round of Super Rugby. We've got Sal GP as well. Valentine's Day. It's footy over flowers this year. Tell the misso she's strapping in for a full day of code on that. Yeah, there we go. Breakfast, smart, unless there's T20 World Cup action that you want to watch.
Brunch.
Brunch. There we go. Brunch is the way. But cheers for tuning in. Catch you back here next Thursday. Then after that, we'll go the Monday, Thursday pods from there. But go well. Enjoy a few Michelob Ultras over the weekend, and gamble responsibly.